What's going on, everyone? So, are these San Antonio Spurs kind of done with the rebuild, right? Got De'Aaron Fox, you got Victor Wembanyama going into year 3. You could have Stephon Castle in year 2. You got guys like, a Harrison Barnes that gives you some veteran presence. Brought in Luke Cornett, Kelly Olynyk. This team has some expectations. They don't have necessarily championship expectations this season, but they do have expectations like, okay, it's time to start moving into the playoffs, right? Even if you just get ran through in the playoffs, got to at least start to show those signs. We're going into nearly a decade after this year, but this is year, 8? Right? You're going into, 2 more years, you look up, right? Which I don't anticipate that will happen. But again, right? Like I don't want to just be a play-in team. I want to be a clear-cut playoff team. This year, right? If you get into the play-in, work your way into the playoffs, fine. But I really want to see the Spurs be a legit playoff team. I really do think it's time to stop the rebuild. You have more than enough pieces. You have so many pieces, you're going to have to start making some tough decisions literally in the next year. Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, guys like that might not even be on this roster by the trade deadline. Right? Because Jeremy Sohan, you might have to pay $20+ million unless he starts to pick it up offensively. Right? He's not worth the $20 million that he wants based on what we've seen the last few years. Now, again, we don't know how he's going to look this year. Maybe he looks very different, right? He is incredibly young. I'd love to keep him around. I'd love for him to be a piece long term. But again, you got to make some decisions. You just paid De'Aaron Fox a max, right? Which, with the new CBA is a little tough, but it is what it is. That's going to cost you some guys. You're not going to be able to have, De'Aaron Fox on a max, Victor Wembanyama on a max, Jeremy Sohan making $20 million, Devin Vassell making $27, Keldon Johnson making, 18, $19 million, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Carter Bryant. You're not going to be able to have all these guys making max contracts, right? So to me, the rebuild's done. No more rebuilding, no more tanking, no more any of that. Right? Like this is now the start. Now we're in the kind of development stage, but also you have a De'Aaron Fox. And this is where some of the dilemmas lie with De'Aaron Fox, right? Wemby wants to win now. He doesn't want to wait 5 years for them to win. He wants to win now. Now, obviously everything's a process. Everything takes time, but you have a De'Aaron Fox. You don't have 5 years to really carve this out and figure it out. Now, I'm not saying that they need to go and just rush and make a big splash this offseason or, by the trade deadline or anything. They have time, but my concern is they kind of just, hey, let's be patient, let's be patient, let's be patient. It's a very fine line between, hey, you're being patient and you're being, too passive. Right? You got to kind of tread that line. Yes, you want to wait for those opportunistic trades, right? The De'Aaron Fox trade is a great example of that. Like you want to develop guys like Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle and Victor Wembanyama still, as great as he is. He still has plenty of room for growth, upside, and potential, right? You want to, Carter Bryant, all these guys. You want to kind of spend this next year, maybe 2 years, kind of developing guys. But like I said, things are going to start happening fast. This time next year, Victor Wembanyama is going to be getting his contract extension. We're gonna have the decision on Jeremy Sohan, and then the following year you got a Stephon Castle. The following year. So even just financially, you're not going to be able to do this whole hey, let's carve this out for 4 or 5 years where guys are developing. And now you have 7 guys all making $20+ million, right? Like that caused some trouble for you, right? Because Wemby's going to be a no-brainer max contract. If De'Aaron Fox you would have gotten for $25 million a year, then yeah, you might have had some wiggle room to where it's you could have 5 or 6 guys all making $25 million. Yeah, you're in the second apron, but it's hey, we got 8 guys deep for the next 7 years, right? You could be in good shape in that regard. But point is that I love where the Spurs are at now at this point. I love that, you got a great core and foundation, arguably the best core and foundation in all of basketball. I mean, let's say arguably, because there are teams, if we're being honest, being fair, you got teams like Houston that has really good young players in core and stuff like that. You got teams like Detroit with Cade Cunningham and some of those guys, Jalen Duren and stuff. I do think, I mean, Victor Wembanyama's the best out of any of the young core guys, but like, what is Dylan Harper going to be? He's coming in as a rookie. Stephon Castle had a very solid first year, rookie year. What does he look like year two? Right? There are definitely some guys on this roster. Carter Bryant, I wouldn't be shocked if you told me Carter Bryant is the second best player next to Victor Wembanyama in 5 years. I mean, that kid is unbelievable already defensively. Obviously, we have to see him play in actual NBA games, but keep an eye on him. I could see him at worst being like an OG type, at best being like a Kawhi Leonard type, one of the better get a stop, get a bucket guys in all of basketball. So keep an eye on him as well. But, Spurs are in excellent shape. But at some point, right, like you got to start to, hey, we're going to make some moves, make some attempts to get there, which I do believe they do. They kept De'Aaron Fox. They went and got a guy in Luke Cornett. They went and got a guy in Kelly Olynyk. They kept Harrison Barnes. Right, so you added some veterans, you kind of solved and added veterans in that position of need, guys that could slot alongside Victor Wembanyama, right, guys that can kind of help alleviate some of the pressures off of Victor Wembanyama, where last year was just kind of like he's all we got, right, like it put the Spurs, I thought, have made some really nice moves. If that opportunity presents itself and they can go make a move or make a trade, I fully expect them to do so, but again, at some point, you gotta, it's like, okay, the rebuild's done. Now you're in the development stage, right, for the next year or two. And then it's like, okay, now we have championship expectations. Wemby's getting into his new contract. He's in year, 5, 6, whatnot, right? Now is the time where he's going to, even him, he's going to start getting criticized for like, he's not the guy, can't take it. I mean, we know it. We've seen it with every star ever. Right? Like that, once they start getting into year 6, 7, things like that, it's like, is he the guy that can lead you to championship? Wemby's great, but like, hey man, he might, no, you got it for all these stars from, I mean, even Magic won a championship and was still called tragic the following year, right? So, but you have guys from like, Magic to, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, right? Like all of these guys that, Jokic, Giannis, all these guys until they won, it was like, hey, you got guys like Luka now that are at that stage where it's like, hey, is he the guy? He's taking you to the finals, but can he win you one? Right? Like, there's a lot of these stars that we've seen that, I mean, Steph even, guys like Steph, I mean, there was talks, I'm old enough to remember the talks where it was like Steph, Steph was a bust because his ankles, like the guy, he can't stay healthy, he's out of the league. You start getting that narrative, when he starts hearing that narrative, I'm not saying he's going to leave or anything, but you want to do right by him. You want to make sure that you're putting yourselves in a position. It's like, how long is Wemby going to be sitting around going like, okay, yeah, sure, another year. Oh, another, top 5 pick. That's great, right? At what point does even Wemby start to apply some pressure and go, I mean, he's made it clear, like he wants to win, but at what point does he kind of go like, all right, guys, can we maybe figure something out here? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.